Okay, so looks like we are now live. Let me just set up my device here so I can read your comments. Hello, guys. Welcome. It's Friday, July 3rd. Tomorrow's July 4th holiday. And it's Adult Beverage Friday. Adult Beverage Friday. That's what it is today. So, and I had my adult beverages, even though restaurants were once again partially closed here in Los Angeles. So I was kind of worried that we're not going to be able to go have adult beverages, but fortunately, they are still open outdoors, so we can go to a restaurant as long as we eat outdoors. So we were able to do that. Hello, guys. So Locutus of Borg, W Lady, TGIF, Double J, Great Gold, Philippi, Iron Fist, David Legs, James Mason, Numo Foreplay, Entire Meyer, hello, Angel, Milo Fonville, Eddie, who did I miss here? Eddie, Milo has been here early. Looks like Matthias Katanhedi, if I don't pronounce that right. Simo Lebitz. Hello, guys, welcome. Benjamin, Dizzy Spiders, Slackocaster, MJ, Sebastian, Lou Flores, Lori K, Jellyfish. My goodness, I'm like seeing everyone here tonight. John Doe, Bazooka Ant, Fred Moldon. I presume John Doe is a good application of what I teach here. JJ and J, Jav and J. Hello, guys. How are you doing? So, our topic tonight. I hope the mic is going to the red. I turned it up a little bit, but I hope it's not like breaking up. Let me know if the sound is breaking up here. Hey, Simo Labitz. What the Zuck is up, Nick Nova? West MC45. So I gotta get into the topic in the next 15 minutes, or I'm gonna lose all the people who watch the replay, which is probably a larger number. So let me just say, let's get to it. And the topic tonight is various, but I just want to talk about contact tracing since I tried to actually update a phone. I got one of you sent me a phone, a G7 to do a bring your own device kind of de-Google. So I got the G7, and looks like whoever got it ran it and received the Google update for contact tracing. So whatever the latest update is for Google, for Android, and had contact tracing on there. And I'm going to tell you, it took me several days to figure out, and I had to install it to stock like several times. It failed many times. So I kept bringing it back to stock, the original ROM that the phone was shipped in, and boy, it wouldn't work. It would just it would do what is called a boot loop. So the OS refused to downgrade the version. The OS refused to downgrade the version. So I said, Zuck. So now if you actually get a new version of an Android or iOS and you put in the contact tracing stuff on there, obviously it's irreversible, pretty much. I mean, for normal people, it took me a while. I mean, it was very difficult to do. So I was able to reverse it, but it was not easy. Like I said, it's too complicated. If you send me a phone to de-Google, do not install anything on it. Do not install any new stuff on it. It just makes it difficult. Because I think, I'm just suspicious if they do this intentionally, where they actually, this is not a security update. It's an update to make sure we're all contact traced. And did they contact trace? Well, doesn't matter because it's not my phone anyway. And I erased the OS, so whatever they're going to contact trace is not going to be meaningful because I don't have any other device with a contact trace on it. So it's going to not have any contacts. It's going to go search for nobody. But some of you are not clear about what contact tracing is. And hello, Himanshu. Donnie, hello Donnie. iOS is built to it. Yeah, if it's you have 13.5.1 and higher, you're gonna get it. So my phone is not. My phone is at 13.4 iOS, and that's it's. I'm gonna try to keep it there, but of course they're gonna trick you. Update tonight, and you go in there and you say, sure, update me tonight, and then you're gonna be zucked. Did any of you do the updates yet? You got your contact trace updates? Did you update your iOS and your Android? It's like sucked up. So what exactly is this about? And some of you actually have, posted comments and saying that, well, there's nothing really dangerous in this update, so we don't really have to worry about it. I'm going to tell you exactly what's in there. My guess, since I haven't looked at the source code, I don't have access to the source code, so I can't tell you, but since I know how it works, I'm going to guess. Okay? So, did you guys update? Oh my gosh! Chewy is on iOS 14. Chewy's already zucked. Chewy is zucked. You better leave that phone at home. You better get a de-Google phone. A de-Google phone does not have any of this. The Google phone does not have any contact tracing. So if they actually put this contact tracing on the AOSP, at the moment it's not there, but if they ever put it on AOSP, I'm going to have to go to AOSP itself and then change the code. So, I don't want to have to do that and recompile. So I'd like to avoid having to do that, but it may come to that. This is going to make my job harder because really it's the battle for privacy is not fixed thing. Some of you think, oh, I just get a VPN and I'm done. Oh, I just get a new phone and I'm no. The battle is constant, guys. This is like the forces of good and evil fighting back and forth. It's like hackers and hackees. You hack. You undo the hack, you hack again. This is like back and forth, and that's what's happening here. Because you got smart people on both sides, some who want to spy on you, and some trying to evade it like me. So I'm on the other side. There's not too many on my side. It's like the bulk of, the businesses and the big companies are on the other side. So I have a terrible job. It's very difficult to do this. So I'm going to tell you right now that you probably will not escape a contact trace phone. So the only solution is dump those Zucking phones. And I'm not trying to sell you phones. It doesn't matter to me, okay? I can't sell them any phones anyway. And, I get enough of you buying phones. So, but the fact of the matter is, what choice do you Zucking have? What choice? So what exactly is going to happen with this contact tracing? What are they actually installing on there? Because they're trying to tell you that as long as you don't download their contact tracing app, that whatever they put on the OS isn't going to make a difference. Yeah, right. You actually believe that story, right? So yes, if you agree to contact tracing and you get to the app, yes, you will get data about contact tracing, about who you got in contact with, but it doesn't stop several things from happening on your phone that I dislike. And one of the things that in order for this contact tracing to occur, one of the things that has to change and has to have had changed, even though I don't have the source code, I'm going to make guess. And somebody who's an expert from Google who actually was programming this can tell me you're Zucking wrong. Well, if I'm wrong, show me the source code and show me that I'm wrong. But I think that what it's going to do is make your Bluetooth hyperactive. Your phone is going to go into emitting a signal on Bluetooth. Normally your Bluetooth is fairly quiet. It just checks to see if there's any other Bluetooth around on the receiving side, and if it finds one, then it will ping if you have a pairing. If there's no pairing with the device, it doesn't really do anything. So it's listening in, but it doesn't emit data. In order for this contact tracing to occur, your Bluetooth has to emit data. It has to emit a RF signal, and the RF signal will obviously include the MAC address of the Bluetooth, even though they say, oh, we don't capture the MAC address. Well, yes, it is true that as designed, the COVID-19 contact tracing supposedly does not actually store the MAC address. It, however, doesn't stop some other company from accumulating the Bluetooth MAC address information from the phone, and besides, it's going to use up your battery. So I don't trust this, guys. This is one of the things that when people put in this little feature, just like Wi-Fi scanning, you put in a feature on the phone, and now your phone is emitting your MAC address everywhere, which is unique to your device. It's a device ID. And then Google takes your MAC address, stores it in the Google database, as well as the router MAC addresses. So now they have a history of all this. The Google phone has actually no data. It doesn't go to Google. It doesn't go anywhere. So Google doesn't receive your phone number, doesn't receive your MAC address, doesn't receive your location, doesn't receive anything unless you give an app a permission to do something. So if you, for example, I use a Navionics app on my phone, which is actually a GPS tracking app. And when I use it, I turn it on and it goes to Navionics, and I can actually, GPS does run. But it doesn't go to Google. So there's no central agency that's collecting all the data. I am worried about any kind of new RF that somebody can capture. So I'm worried about that. I don't want it. Do you want to be contact traced in any kind of a way? And here's the worst part. They can already do the contact tracing even without an update, and they can do it through Wi-Fi scanning. So Wi-Fi scanning will reveal your location anyway. So I don't even want that. So I don't understand, guys. I mean, you can just say passively, I guess I have no choice because I love my iPhone. My iPhone has all these fancy features. Look at that fancy camera. Look at the fancy camera in my 11 Pro. Look at the fancy camera. I'm going to stick to my iPhone. And my comment is, Zuck you, Apple. I want a camera. Here's a camera. I have a nice, I don't have it right here, but I have a nice video an Osmo Pocket, a tiny little 4K video device that I use in my videos. And it's so tiny, it's basically a gimbaled phone, and it's lighter and smaller than my phone. I put it in my pocket, and that's enough. Why do I need Zucking single devices that are made to spy on me? They want you to get all these phones that have all the features packed in there. So you say, oh, look, I got everything on my single phone. It's like, Zuck, I like my Apple 10. Yes, look at my Apple 10. It doesn't leave the house. So I am just sick and tired of this. I'm like, do you want to just accept this? I don't want to accept it. I am not going to participate. I am not participating, guys. So if you don't believe in the Google phones, think again. My gosh, this is our way to fight back. I wish you could de-Google yourself. You don't need me, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. So it's very hard to de-Google. So, unfortunately, what is the de-Googled Android version you recommend? Whatever is available that is de-Googled. One of my phones is Android 10 and one is Android 9. So it depends on what's stable for that phone version. Your iPhone is under house arrest. Entire Meyer, you are such a awesome guy. I mean, you're actually paying it. You always pay attention, but you're awesome. I am new to this channel. What is a de-Google Android? Oh, I see. I missed Alice. I missed the comment on new to the channel. Yes. So I make the de-Google phones, and some other companies make some other ones. But the one I use is a Motorola G7 and a Motorola G7 Play, and occasionally I have a Google Pixel. And I probably can't really carry that many Google Pixels. So I'm going to stick to mostly the G7 Play and the G7, Motorola G7 for now. And I order in large quantities. So if you see it out of stock, wait the next day. I have it in stock pretty much one day after. So so I order them in large bunches. But the problem is, very soon it'll be very hard to get a G7. It's already getting hard to find one. I have to find a different model to use. There's a lot of plays still, but the G7s are starting to get rare. Hello, Twitty. Thank you. Twitty's back. Thank you for being here, Twitty. So we need to fight back, guys. If I could just, if you know how to Google your own phone, do it. Don't put gaps on there. No gaps. Do it if you can do it. There are very limited phones you can do it too, but if you have one, do it yourself if you're techie. If not, then try to find some way to get one, or you can buy from me. But goodness, guys, I mean, I don't want this. This is what percentage of the population is going to be contact traced? Can you imagine being one of those few that is not contact traced? It's going to be exciting. I'm going to tell you, when I use my de-Googled phone, and I use a G7 Play. This is the one I use. Now, a lot of people, I can't say this is perfect, because there's a few bugs on the G7 Play. The G7 is pretty well running. That doesn't really have any issues. There's a couple of minor bugs in this. One of the bugs is that if you forget and the ringer's off, then you call somebody and they can't hear you. So some of you say, well, I turn up the volume and they still can't hear me. That's because you forget. You got to hang up, tap on the volume right there to bring the volume up. Make sure ringer's off. There's a ringer symbol in there. Make sure the ringer symbol is active, and then call again, and then it works. Okay? You can't do it once you're in the call and it's off. Nothing is going to happen. You can try all day. It's not going to. You got to end the call and call again. That's only when you have the ringer off. And the other bug has to do with SMS. The SMS doesn't work for incoming effectively unless you say use 3G for your preferred network. So those are the two major kind of bugs. But let me just tell you something interesting about this phone that you will never see on a Google phone with contact tracing. Actually, I don't think I charged this phone since yesterday, and it says battery more than 2 days remaining. Zuck! I haven't charged this in over a day, and it says more than 2 days remaining. You don't think that's awesome? Why does it say that? It's because all the Zucking spying is gone. It doesn't spy on you. It doesn't emit the radio frequencies. It doesn't emit the radio frequencies. And somebody else asked me, or lecturing me actually, somebody lecturing me on YouTube saying, because I guess I don't know anything. So somebody was saying, why do you say airplane mode doesn't do anything? So all I have to do is put my phone in airplane mode and everything is safe. It's like, Zuck you. My gosh, that's just there's just some idiots out there. I don't know. It's just, okay. No. Go watch Snowden. Snowden was interviewed by Joe Rogan. Okay? Go ask him. I mean, he even said in there, he knows what I know, that no, airplane mode is not going to do it. Now, airplane mode does do something. What airplane mode does is it actually turns off the transmission of cells, so your cell doesn't transmit. So some of you will say, oh, I actually checked the radio frequencies and the radio frequencies died down in airplane mode. And that's correct. Your cell transmissions do not occur in airplane mode. However, I don't know about receiving. Your phone can be hacked with receiving signals. I don't know if your phone stops receiving with airplane mode. And here's the other kicker here. When you're in airplane mode, your Wi-Fi is spying on you just as much with or without airplane mode. Wi-Fi scanning continues to occur. Wi-Fi scanning was tested by an independent university, I believe, and Wi-Fi scanning was Wi-Fi probes were still occurring with airplane mode. So please stop talking to me like I don't know anything. Okay, go actually look at the research and see what's actually known about the phone. If Wi-Fi probes and Wi-Fi scanning is on, then this thing is tracking your location in airplane mode. And even Snowden says, we don't even know when a device is turned off if it's actually off. Someone could fake your phone and make it seem off because it has a black screen. it doesn't mean it's actually off. You don't know it's actually off by just seeing the black screen. Somebody could have given you a fake off button, and then it blanks the screen out, and you actually think it's off, but it's still sending a signal. Okay, so in order to avoid all this, I just said, let's get rid of all these companies like Apple and Google who want to spy on us, and forget this Apple ad that says iPhone is zucking privacy. Zuck you. Zucking nonsense. Okay? Apple is not zucking privacy. It's spying on you every day with Wi-Fi scanning. BS. A bunch of BS. Okay. Now I'm going to try to catch some of the comments here. Let me start backward a little bit here. Okay. I didn't go too far back, so ask your comment. I'm going to go from Twitty again. Thank you, Twitty, for the super chat. So I'm going to start at Twitty and then work my way down. If I missed a comment, you go ask it again. How safe is the Android work profile for Big Brother apps? What is an Android work profile? Don't sucking use a standard Android. If you don't have a standard Android, if you have AOSP, then you don't really have to worry about anything. Some people ask, what can I do on an AOSP Google phone? Anything. The phone has no identity. You can do anything. Oh, is it safe to download this app and that app? The only apps that I would not put on a Google phone, because it will work, is Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram. And the reason is it says in the EULA of Facebook that they do MAC address tracking. So it'll track every device on your network if you use Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. So Instagram and WhatsApp, you can run it on a browser. If you use that, if you're smart, don't use those apps. But if you have to, use a browser. Do not download the app. It can't spy on you on the browser. Okay? So other than that, you can do whatever you want because the phone has no identity anyway. So there's nothing that identifies me on this phone. It doesn't even reveal your phone number to Google. Why does it not reveal your phone number to Google? Because there's no Google. So how is Google going to know your phone number if it's not on the phone? So, and the other apps, this is Android 10, is restricted from finding out your phone number. So there's really nothing you can't do on a de-Googled phone. Everything works. You can do whatever as long as it runs. If it doesn't run, then it doesn't run. Now you cannot install Google apps. Google apps do not install on a de-Googled phone. So you have to find substitute for that. So if you're going to use Gmail, use K9. If you want to watch YouTube, you use NewPipe and so on. Or use your computer. Switch to computers. I don't care which computer. It's all better than a phone. I don't care if you use Mac OS X or Windows and you don't want to use Linux. I mean, I prefer to use Linux, but if not, it's okay. They're a lot safer than phones, all of them. Okay, so going back to BlackBerry. Mr. H, I just got a Samsung Galaxy S8. Can you recommend any de-Googled ROMs? I don't have any experience with Samsungs. They're kind of difficult to do. So it's like learning something else. I believe an S8 may be able to be done, but can't tell you for sure. I'm looking at AE, ASAP. I can look at E. Now, I like mine better, but if you're in Europe, it may be easier to get E. That's fine. Will de-Googling use your standard SIM card? Yes, standard SIM card's fine. Google locked me out of my bootloader. I'm zucked. And you know why they lock you out of a bootloader? If you have contact tracing app and they don't want to, that you have to install stock again. It's very tedious. Maxwell, thank you. Lakudos. Huge D bites here. What's going to happen if encryption is outlawed? It will be unoutlawed because you can't enforce it. Because it's going to have to be in every country. So, yeah, good luck with that. Instead of using some other Strife, instead of referring to other de-Googled, you can look at mine. Brax OS. But what happens if you get COVID-19? How will they tell who came in contact with you? I don't care. I'll self quarantine, and then if I have to go to the hospital, I'll just quarantine now. What do I think about TikTok? That is not related, but don't use TikTok. Can I be busy? Can I anonymous mask? Whatever. Amazon. I unlocked the bootloader, which was a fun time. Could I de-Google the phone with unlock bootloader if it's supported? If it's not supported, it can be an interesting project. I'm forcing myself to leave my iPhone at home and just utilize my ham radio if necessary. Freddie, you're very smart. John, you need root now, then you can. I don't root my phones. Rooting is actually opens up some back doors for other guys. So I don't need to root a phone. None of the phones I ship are rooted. Some people, Omega airplane mode, haha, yes. In fact, on my YouTube comments, airplane mode. Don't think now airplane mode will protect you. For some of you are sensitive to radio frequencies. Airplane mode does reduce the radio frequencies output, not input, output. And so if you want to get protected from that, yeah, that works. However, don't think it saves you from privacy. It does not. It has nothing to do with privacy. Yeah, Pine 64, obviously. It's cool and good guys at Pine 64. I got a comment from, I got a notice from Purism about my Librem 5 that they will give me a date a couple of months from now about when, we're in July now, right? Yeah, a couple of months from now, they'll give me a date of when I might get my Librem 5, which I ordered over a year now. So October, December, I'm going to guess. The target keeps moving, so maybe December. Just like turning off your phone, well, as I told you, what's his name? Snowden says we don't really know if your phone is off just because you turn off. I guess if it's not hot, it's probably off. But you don't actually know for sure anymore if your phone is off. Your phone can still send and receive pings in airplane. It can react to a signal, and definitely your Wi-Fi still works. So, like I said, maybe it just doesn't. There's certain things it stops, but the receive end of it is still working, and it can cache data and send it later. Use a Faraday cage for your phone case. I think they did away with removable batteries because of that. By the way, just a little side comment. So one of the phones that I sold, the battery was dead. So I tried to replace the battery on a Google Pixel. I'm going to tell you, I broke the screen. I mean, it looks to me to be close to impossible to replace the battery on a Google Pixel without damaging the screen. So I have to buy a screen and a battery every time you do it on a Google Pixel. It's really not designed to ever be opened. The glue is so strong. There's actually no screws. It's just glue, and the glue is so strong that I try to cut the glue and it won't cut. So it's very, very difficult. You need special glue cutters. It's a pain, guys. Some of these phones, I think they want us to be dependent on the phones. They do everything to make it dependent on it, and yet they want it to be disposable. So when you're done with it, then you're supposed to dump it and get a new phone. This is the craziness of this world, guys. iPhone is zucking privacy. Yes, zucking, yes. How can SMS be disabled in Android? Don't have an SMS app. I'm not sure even doing that it's going to stop somebody from doing SIM jacking using hidden SMS, because you can get hidden SMS messages. Does Lineage OS count as de-Google if you do not have gaps in Lineage OS? Yes, in fact, that's what I install on a G7. A variant of that. I think the Lineage OS, it's a variant, it's not actually Lineage OS, but it's based on Lineage OS. Lineage OS is super cool and super good if you can get a supported one. Not all phones get supported by Lineage OS, but if you can, it's obviously the most stable. And do not install with gaps. So just take standard Lineage OS without gaps and it'll be fine. I'm eating for the Katim phone. How do you know the Katim phone? Some of these are just standard Androids. It's like, oh, I'm really like, who investigates what a Katim phone is? I have no idea what it is. Probably some phone with spying from Saudi Arabia. Any Android device can still send and receive pings at any time. I believe that. What's the best? 20 TikTok is a very popular app with young people. What's the Chinese app? What's the best maps app to use? Alternative to Google Apps is Ozband. OpenStreetMaps is very good. It's like the graphics are very nice. OpenStreetMaps. Ozband. Brett Olson. John Doe. Okay, how do you use OpenVPN on a UB Ports phone? You do not use OpenVPN on Linux. You use Network Manager. So there's instructions, for example, how to install Bytes VPN on the Bytes VPN site on Network Manager. It's a lot of steps. So it's kind of difficult to do, but it's Network Manager. It's kind of, you have to edit a file and using the command line. So it's kind of tedious. Is it a good idea to start smashing phones that get too updated? Yes. Did you say new pipe, not zoo pipe? New pipe. Starlight. Twitty. Yeah, TikTok is a... sorry, I'm not there yet, Twitty. I got your comment above. Can Galaxy J4 for Android 10? I don't know, probably. But I don't do Samsungs myself. Buffering for anyone else? Signal looks good from here. Okay, at least it is okay now. If it was buffering, it's not now. So I wasn't looking over there. Okay, thoughts on McAfee's Ghost phone? Show me McAfee using it, then we'll see. We'll see if it's interesting. Connection solid again. Thank you. Okay. Thoughts on Finny? I don't know what Finny is. Had to reload the page. Yes, I have a Pine phone. Are bad words allowed on shortwave radio? It's not on. You mean on ham radio? Not supposed to be, but it's there. Faraday cage. Do you relock your Moto G7 bootloader? You can't relock a Moto G7. The only one that's relockable is a Pixel. But it doesn't matter. If you tamper with a bootloader, the data gets erased. So if on a G7, if you tamper with a bootloader, the data is erased. So they never capture your data. So it's pretty safe for your data. I don't put much data on my phone though. You don't have your Librem 5 either. Twitty, you ordered after me, so you're probably in the same batch as I am. So maybe we'll look for December. Any good mobile link OS for Pine phone that are usable? I am hoping that Fosh, of course, UB ports is one. I'm liking the Fosh one because it's more standard Linux, and and it's going to be the same as the one running on Librem 5. So I'm liking that. If they get all the bugs worked out, that might be where I can program stuff. Snowden was a you have to heat it up and remove it. No, it doesn't. Heating it up doesn't work. No, Donnie, heating it up doesn't work. You actually have to slice it with a very thin knife, and it's very easy to crack the screen doing that, even with a thin knife. No, use heat gun for glue. No. In fact, the example that they show on YouTube, they heat it up I heated it for like 30 minutes. It didn't do anything. Can you use a free firewall to block SMS? No, SMS does not go through firewall. Can you use WireGuard on UB ports? Um, I don't know if there's space to install that on UV ports. You could probably install it on Fosh, since that's just Debian. So you can probably do that, but probably not on UV ports. UV port is a very fixed version. They don't use the latest kernel, so it may not have drivers for WireGuard. I don't know why you're so excited about WireGuard. It's fine and all, but it's not. To me, a VPN is just to be functional. It's not. It doesn't have to be doing anything fancy. Does vegan Lou Flores, Ryu Halto? Can you put signal? No signal on about to touch. Will you buy the PS5? Any thoughts on Katim? No thoughts on Katim. Somebody just gave a super chat. Thank you. I'm going to get to that. I'm trying to just scroll down here. I just sent my Moto 70 today to install AOSP on it. Okay, James. I think I saw your name on the BYOD list. Do you have videos on SIM hijacking and hidden? Yes, it's Who's Spying on Your Phone, Part 1, Part 2. Yes. I've been using... Yeah, nobody watches that. Who's Spying on Your Phone, Part 1 and Part 2. I was going to make 4 parts, and I stopped at Part 2 because it wasn't getting the views. I tested negative for COVID antibodies. Well, negative today doesn't mean you're negative now. Negative at the time of testing. Can you still be traced by cell towers? Yes, but it's not very accurate. Cell towers alone doesn't trace you very far. It's within probably half a mile square. So it's not good enough for a location. It just tells you what cell tower you're in, but it doesn't really triangulate you exactly. What is your opinion about Chinese brands like all phones are Chinese, so like a Motorola G7 is actually Lenovo, which is also Chinese. So we're kind of stuck. So you kind of have to just develop trust for each one. I've been using Lenovo enough that I'm at least used to it. Is it possible that any one of these brands can have stuff on it? It's possible, but it's if any of them are caught, like Huawei, then you should not use Huawei. If they haven't been caught, then we'll give them a pass temporarily. Best flip phone for no GPS but use 4G? Nothing. Is it possible to Google an Android car head unit? Android, the one in a car is actually QNX. It's running Linux. Is there a one that actually does Android now? See, usually your car, I'm talking about the electronics of the car, not the radio, uses QNX, which is a variant of either Linux or BSD. But if they're putting Android on the car now, since you can't de-Google your car, better make the proper car selections. You should avoid that car. Get a Mercedes. It doesn't have that. Sorry, the heat gun didn't work for you. I was lucky. My screen didn't crack. Actually, very common while doing it. I have to do another one, and I'm reluctant to do it. Suppose I'm in the countryside with no one using Wi-Fi routers. Yes, it fails there, Ayush. Yes, it does. So that if you go to Iceland, you'll be okay. Contact tracing doesn't work too well in Iceland. Since there are no routers addressed to map, yes. Are there any firmware updates for the Brax router? Not at the moment, but I can auto update a Brax router. I can trigger an update, but there's no update. Is there any tutorial for how to do Google Phone on YouTube? You can't, because it's by phone. It's different by phone. And I try to do it on even Ubuntu Touch, trying to give you instructions, and it's different for one brand to another. Now it's even more difficult on de-Googling. It's by phone. So I have different instructions not just by phone, but subparts of a phone. So, for example, there's a Moto G7 X1962-1, X1962-4, X1962-6. Which one? Okay, and not only that, you not only have to get which one, it's which one and what OS is on it previously and what version. So it's very tedious. The instructions are not going to be simple. So it took me 2 weeks to learn a phone. So rather than do that, I mean, that's why I'll do it for you. I mean, do you really think it's at the $100 that you pay us to do it for you? Is that really worth weeks and weeks of your time? That's all it costs you for us to do it for you. And I don't do it myself. I have to have people here to do it now. And, we charge $100 to de-Google the phones that we support because it's very tedious to do it. And it takes a long time. And in fact, from an hourly rate, I'm not even sure it's worth it. Mobile banking, you have a choice. There's a heading called Android Auto. Zuck that, Donnie. dump your phone. Talk about Orbot versus VPN router. Why do I need to talk about it? Orbot is Tor. Can you also desolder microphones as node on devices? Microphones you can probably desolder. Microphones, there's a way. Although, the bad guys can turn your speakers into microphones. So, I'm not sure if that's 100%. But yes, a microphone is external, so it might, but you can't use the phone obviously for talking. Raj, why is Ubuntu Touch not available? Because every phone is different. It's, they're cannibalizing a phone from Android and turning into Ubuntu Touch, and there's so many incompatibilities. Is Shelter on F-Droid a good alternative to NetGuard? I don't know. NetGuard is fine. Can we have a room blog on Braxton how to keep our Google phones safe? Yeah, you could, but just talk about it on cybersecurity because, to be honest with you, there's nothing to do. It's already safe. It's pretty safe. The other things you got to change now, aside from the phone and a VPN and a VPN router, is basically your habits, which really have nothing to do with the phone itself. The phone stuff, automatically gets safe when you go to Google. Then there's nothing really to add. Why Ubuntu Touch? Please do part 3 and part 4. I can't if nobody watches it, Guru. Somebody has to watch it. It's not popular video, so it's pointless to keep making it when I can make something that is more popular. My VPN uses Pi-hole, Eden. So if you use my VPN, it comes with Pi-hole automatically, and also Tor routing automatically if you choose to activate it. So that's my VPN is very unique, and if you use some other VPN, many of them will block your email. Mine does not do any kind of blocking. Plus the fact that no one really knows you're in a VPN, so which is actually pretty critical. If you're on a big company, Amazon and Google and Apple already know you're in a VPN just because thousands of people have the same IP address. On mine, you're not going to have that because I don't have that many people per server. So I don't need to make my VPN large as a company. I just need it to be functional for us. So it's not going to ever be that large. So which is what you want. It's large enough, but not large in the sense that we need to worry about thousands of people having the same IP address. Thank you, David. Speaking of Brax router, when will there be more available? There's more now. I have some now. It's going to run out, but yes, but I can't ship tomorrow. There's no shipping on July 4th. It'll ship on Monday. Is BlackBerry 10 an option? No. Aside from the fact that BlackBerry 10 is actually Android, and then you have the problem of 3G, and many will not accept 4G. Your privacy consulting is so valuable, I might as well go for it. Do you consult via Zoom? My consulting, Twitty, is on the hourly one is by chat, because I don't really, Brax chat, I don't really have time to actually slice up 2 hours contiguous, one full 2 hour session. That's pretty hard to do. I mean, I don't have that kind of time. So what I offer is just to, chat with me, and then we can do it offline, and you can do it on Brax. It's really hard to do, say block off a time with exact. Well, I can't do that because my time is. I got so many of you trying to. I get hundreds of messages a day, and it's difficult to respond anymore. Good flip phone, none. Just use a Google phone. The problem is they don't do 4G very well. So do you de-microphone, de-camera phones too? What? Do it yourself. Poke a hole on the camera. Can we develop our own mobile OS like Firefox OS? Firefox OS is now Loon OS. So they're doing a de-Googled version. I mean, a Linux version. It's Linux. Firefox OS is Linux. Plus, with smaller VPNs, you're less likely to get in trouble. The service is much less likely to get abused. Jitsi is better than Zoom. Come on, guys. Don't, be careful with all these apps. Why do you love Zoom? I don't use Zoom. I don't de-Google an S5. I can't de-Google any Samsungs. Virtual credit cards. I don't know what. It's probably helpful. Bazooka Ant. Maybe they'll sponsor me. Then we'll talk again. Do we need to watch a library show? No, you don't have to. You can watch here. Yes, Starlight. Is Linux OS more secure than Ubuntu Touch? No, Ubuntu Touch is more secure, but it's as far as usability, Linux OS is obviously more usable. A Galaxy with S5 with Linux OS and no gaps. If you can do it, it'll work. My Google phone asked to update F-Droid and Aurora Store. Should you do this? Yes, that's fine. You should do that, especially F-Droid and Aurora Store. Thank you, Jay. The easiest removal technique is cutting the ribbon connectors. Jitsi is open source. Doesn't matter. I mean, you can't. Just so you understand, I was going to make a video of this, but it's really hard to do. Let me just check the time here. Okay, let me just talk about this briefly. Video. It is extremely hard to encrypt video. It depends on what method you use to do the video. There are many methods. One is called HLS, WebRTC, and then RTMP, RTSP. For example, I'm here on OBS. I'm using RTMP. You can't really encrypt this. This is what's used by Zoom. So you send the signal to Zoom, and then yes, you are encrypted from you to Zoom. In my case, I'm not. I'm not encrypted from my site to YouTube. It's not encrypted. It's unencrypted, which doesn't matter in this case because I'm doing it publicly. But because you can just watch it on YouTube, so you don't need to decrypt it. But if you're using Zoom and you're expecting a private conversation, well, that can't happen. It can't happen because Zoom itself can watch your video. There's nothing to stop Zoom from watching your video. Now, the difference is Signal. Signal uses HLS, I believe, and it only works on peer-to-peer, so one-to-one. So when there's only one-to-one and they use HLS as their video, then you can actually encrypt it because the encryption is handled from end to end on HLS. You're actually, the encryption is being handled at the phone level. So that actually works, but it doesn't work at the server side encryption. So Zoom is an example of this where it encrypts it at the server. So when somebody says, oh, this is open source, this is this and that, It depends what you use it for. Anything that's group based, like Zoom, which can have groups, I mean, you can't encrypt that. How does Zucking encrypt that with end to end? There's no way. Somebody can always listen in the middle. Okay, so that's why I don't actually have a solution for you. Anything that uses a browser, have to go through a server like WebRTC. All of this have to go through a server, and if they're RTMP has to have a server. WebRTC needs a server, so if it's server based, then you're kind of zucked. FaceTime is not encrypted really. It's the same thing. FaceTime is encrypted supposedly, but Apple can decrypt it. So it's not end-to-end encrypted. The only thing that I would trust right now for video that has end-to-end is going to be Signal. And I don't really like to. I'm careful with how I use Signal, because Signal actually reveals too much of you with that Zucking phone number thing and contact list. So I only use Signal with people I know, like family and people who already know my phone number. Otherwise, I am not going to use Signal with any of you. You can use Brax, me. I'm not going to use Signal. But for me, the only reason I want to use Signal is because of video and voice over IP with family members, because they already know my phone number. Little piece of love, no problem if you have to use the app, but web is better. For video conferencing, can one of the participants be designated as a routing table to keep the encryption keys off the server? Are you designing your own video? I'm talking about commercial video apps. Yes, you can design, I can design my own server and keep it in my house. And yes, I'm the only one that can see it, so therefore it's encrypted. Yes, you can do that. It's like keeping your own email server. Augustine, a question. Do you see the KDE repository on F-Droid? KDE and very few work. Don't know. KDE has its own apps for like syncing things from Linux device to Linux device. Yes, hey you, I did hear about that, but why is that a shocking surprise? Because you can't really, what kind of encryption can you actually do on the Zucking phone? I already told you, this CALIA law. So voice over IP. The only thing that I would use is, again, Signal, but only two people can do that. You can't like have a conference on, oh, I'm on Zoom, I'm encrypted, like Zuck. Yeah, try that as a drug dealer. Which, I don't care if you go to jail as a drug dealer, you should go to jail. What would you do if EarnIt Act passes? Who cares? You can't, I doubt if you can actually implement that. Because the world has to implement it, and it's not. So how do you implement that? Then just pass your encryption in another country. Best Google phone, no China, no Google, or Google made. Well, the software is what matters. So, I trust my Google phones. Do you have experience with Graphene OS? Just use my Google phone. Graphene uses expensive phones. So yes, you can use Graphene. You got to pay more. So if that's what you want, fine. I don't need to use that kind of expensive phones. You should aim to keep most private information off your phone. Very smart. Can you de-Google a Nexus 7 tablet? Believe so. I believe you can do a Nexus 7 tablet. I haven't tried, but I believe you can de-Google a Nexus 7 tablet. No buffering right now. Sorry, burner number for Signal. Nexus 7 runs UV port fairly well. I don't know. Yeah, Nexus 7 is supported. Yes. Okay. So anyway, back to. By the way, thank you for the super chat, Tootie and I thought there was somebody else. And Milo, thank you for the super chat. And if you're interested in what I talk about, you may want to hit the like button on the video. So I see only 77 of you have hit like, and there's hundreds of you that have been watching so far. That would be appreciated, because then, we have to deal with the algorithm here. The algorithm judges me and tells the YouTube if the YouTube algorithm decides if my channel should be recommended or not. So you don't actually get the choice. YouTube decides that. They can decide if your channel is going to have 1 million subscribers or not. But they will accept your input. They will accept your input to a point. So if you give, a like on a video, then they will likely consider doing it. But of course, they have to like your content in a way that makes them money. So I appreciate it a lot. Thank you for those of you who hit like or dislike. You can hit dislike as well. Thank you, Augustin Haro. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Twitty. Thank you very much. We need to get 100 likes. Yes. No, there's been hundreds of you so far. Not everyone stayed for the whole thing. So I'm sure there's been hundreds of people here, and only 109 has given likes, and I'm sure, maybe the other ones have left. Thank you, Fernando. So, any news on turning a Pine phone into a mobile data Brax router? Jellyfish, when the power management is better, it right now only lasts for 6 hours. I'd like it to last longer than 6 hours, and then I can convert it to use as an LTE Brax router. So, and also to have it in supply to sell. Since in large supply, then I can't really market it yet. I'm going to get Pixel 3a into Google with Graphene OS. Good luck with that, James Mason. I actually have a Pixel 3 and unsuccessful with Graphene OS. So I don't want to invest too much time in getting expensive phones and putting graphene on it, because if I can't do it, I spend so much money. And these phones are expensive, so it kind of costs a lot of money to do that. So if I do it, then I'll have to spend I'll have to sell it for an expensive price, probably $599 for a phone. At that price point, I don't know if I can justify that price point. So I'd like to keep the phones at no more than 300 if I can, or at least close to that. And for that reason, I'm staying away from Graphene OS, because their selection of phones doesn't justify that. Okay, so I think Graphene uses Pixels, and then eFoundation uses Samsung. So these are expensive phones, and I think we get more mileage out of a G7, which is a very nice phone. It's actually, it's a G7 Play. I mean, yes, it's made of plastic, but the quality is very good. I mean, it's a quality phone. I think they save money by not using an expensive case, and it's an attractive plastic, and you put a cover on it, and other than that, it's the same. It actually, because my iPhone is in a case anyway, I don't actually see the difference, because next to my iPhone it's pretty much the same. It's just as bright and everything. You have to use the ADB and combined system. What? You still Jazz Gigs, Double J? What are you talking about? Do you know of places where you can play publicly? Of course not. Thoughts on Spotify app? I use Spotify on my Google phone. It's fine. It runs great. I use Spotify on my Google phone. Has Spotify on it. Yes, I have in there is Spotify. If you want to look at all the apps, I do have Spotify. A friend of mine recently had the idea of converting a router to a Pi phone. If you're going to do that, it's too expensive to do that. You might as well use a Pine phone. If I buy a phone from you, will it work in Mexico? Yes, it will work in Mexico. If it's midnight here in New York City, happy 4th of July, Starlight. Does essential phone need to be de-googled? I don't know what's in an essential phone at the moment. So somebody will tell me, "Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong. You made a statement." I don't know anything about how an essential phone. I don't even know if I can get one. You know, that's I believe that's an EU phone, isn't it? Kind of like Fairphone. So if I can't get it here, I can't. I can't really speak to it. What are platforms we would alternate to as well regarding a signal? Does it have to be well known? Braxme is pretty secure, so does it have to be super well known? Just because nobody knows it doesn't mean it's bad. Would your phone work in Australia? Yes, it will work in Australia. However, be prepared for a long shipment time. I don't want you to get mad at me because it will take a long time to get there. I promise you it will take a long time. So don't get mad at me. Yes, you can order it. It will get there eventually, but it will take a very long time. Long. Okay? Long. So as long as you have the patience, then do it, because you're going to get it eventually. And it will work in Australia, yes. I have a Librem 5 on order. Where can I buy phones from you? Go to my store on Brax.me. So Brax.me is an app. You can download the app, take the APK, go to the website. Any one of those options will work. Go to Brax.me and there's a store on the menu which will go directly to my store. 6 a.m. in Germany. Do you still use Incognito Wallet? Yes. If somebody wants to pay me in crypto, I give an Incognito Wallet address. So yes, I still use Incognito Wallet. Yeah, I still use it. How do you like Library versus YouTube? Of course, I'm so proud of my success on Library. I have 10,500 people subscribe to me on Library, which is close to half of what I have on YouTube. That is utterly amazing. That I'm in the I'm in the top 50 creators on Library. So if you're asking me if I'm going to go and BitChute and any of these, no, I don't have time for that. But Library made it very easy, and the kind of people that watch on Library are the kind of people that I need to reach anyway. So it's the right kind of people. So Library is awesome. So if you want to watch on Library, you can watch there. And people give tips on Library for me, and I appreciate it. And it really makes kind of the same kind of income as YouTube, even with less viewers. So, but it's grown now. Like I said, I have 10,000 subscribers on there. I mean that's pretty fast. I've only been there for not even 3 months, close to 3 months, but not quite yet 3 months. And Library's been very, very good. So yes, if you want to watch on Library, that's fine too. Just go to Braxme to talk to me. I don't really talk on any other platform. So thank you, Twitty. I don't talk on any other platform. So I'd rather not email some of you. I have no choice but to reach the email because you don't talk on Braxme. But it's really not a good idea to email because everyone's reading the email. So and yes, I now do tracking. And I just want to make this comment because some of you order from me, and I just want you to know that until yesterday, when you order from me, it's done manually. We have to actually write it down. We got to go to the PayPal and go write down the address, and process by hand. Make sure we didn't miss anything and look at it. And goodness, guys, then we have to handwrite the addresses. And it's so easy to make a mistake when there's so many orders. In this last month, when the channel grew so fast and there were so many orders, and it's really difficult to track. And the growing pains, guys, it's very hard to run the store on a manual basis. So I've automated it as of yesterday, and we were testing it. and now you get automatic tracking notifications. I do not send an order confirmation showing detail of your order, and the reason being to avoid email traffic. But at least you will get a tracking notification now. So what do you think about the Pablo Escobar cell phones? I don't think about it. Where can we report bugs for the Braxme app and Android? You can report it on GitHub, or you can report it in the Brax open source chat. If you choose Tor for your router and not a VPN, do you still need one for your computor? No. If Brax router, yeah, you when you do the Brax router, you do not need to do anything to the computer or the phone. The Brax router takes care of it. So if you VPN the Brax router, everyone is VPN'd. And you don't need to worry about a kill switch, because obviously it will just stop working. It doesn't connect to something else. The Brax router is very firm. If you lose the VPN, it stops working. So some of you will experience this. You connected multiple Wi-Fis, and then when the Brax router goes off because of network issues or whatever, it disconnects from Brax router and connects someplace else, and you don't realize it. Easy. Just forget the other networks when you're using Brax router. Just make sure it goes to Brax router only. And then if you need to use another network, then you go in there and then type in the password again. And then when you're done, delete the network. That way it defaults always to only use Brax router. And then you will be safer. Yes, come to Braxme. I've never heard of library. Yeah, if you haven't learned, watch my video on it. Thoughts on crypto? I don't have really any thoughts on other phones that I don't have any experience with. If these companies will send me a phone a review, then I'll talk about it when I have one. But if I can't, reading it doesn't tell me anything. I don't know anything about the phone. So if I don't know anything, I don't know anything. Some of you say, well, I want a Katim phone. Why do you want a Katim phone? Because they made some promises on there? How do you know how it works? As far as I know, Katim is just Android. So what's in there? I don't know. Until I get the phone from you, what custom ROM should I use? Lineage or Havoc or Graphene or anything else? It doesn't matter, Sheik, as long as no gaps. All of them are fine. It's more important what you do. No gaps. No Google Apps or gaps. GAPPS. Don't install that. Okay. Can one use Orbot as a Tor kill switch? What does that mean? Orbot is Tor. What did I miss? Looks like I answered all the questions. Can we get the Brax router to receive Wi-Fi, then retransmit it with a VPN? Thus avoiding the Ethernet cable ID speed is not an issue. I don't understand what you're talking about, Jellyfish. A Brax router, it receives Wi-Fi. What are you talking about, the other end? Meaning you transmit to the router and the router talks to another Wi-Fi? Meaning Wi-Fi and another Wi-Fi? If that's what you mean, I had that. That is a feature I had. It was not popular, was hard to set up. So to simplify, I removed it. So there wasn't much demand for it. So it's just hard. It complicates the operation of the device. So I'm not going to recommend that. If you're going to use that, just use LTE. You can use Aurora Store, yes. Hello, Lucas. Which Lucas is this? This is, if anyone is new tonight. Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me, Great Gold. So I do have a Patreon account. So there's a link in the description. And if you want to support this channel on Patreon, it would be so appreciated. It is very difficult to do what I do, and this is not easy. And I'm going to tell you that I've been doing this for 5 years now, and to do this for 5 years, I've pretty much had to sustain myself without any income. So 5 years of no income just to do this. So it's something that I believed in, so I put in all my energy into it, even though I wasn't making any income for the first 5 years. So now this channel has an income now, and it's fortunate that it's becoming successful. So support it. If you understand the difficulty in doing this, your support will help sustain this channel. We don't have a lot of people doing what I do and talk about what I talk about. It's very difficult to get corporate sponsorship for what I do, because I talk negatively about anyone that I feel deserves to be talked about negatively. So I am not like a Linus Tech Tips where I can talk about any product, because I can't get let's say support from Intel when I talk about Zucking IME spying on you, or some other product where they're Zucking spying on you, or Apple spying on you, or Google spying on you. I can't win. So the only support comes from you guys. So if you feel like you want a voice in privacy, yes, please support the channel so that I can keep doing this and concentrate my time, not on trying to make a buck and make a living, but just concentrate on making the videos. That would be where I can help you by educating you and focus my time on that. Sometimes I can't do it because I gotta spend my time trying to make money. So it's hard to make a living. A lot of folks might use a Google phone in public Wi-Fi. Well, obviously you need to. The two things that will save your privacy in such a big way are only two simple things: a VPN and a Google phone. These two are so strong right there. VPN, the Google phone, or Tor, which is part of the VPN, and my VPN. My VPN is pretty cool. It's made to be stealthy. No one actually knows you're in a VPN. By keeping the number of subscribers down, it's not a very large group of people. It's not like thousands of people are sharing the same IP address per server. I don't have that. So because of that, no one really knows it's a VPN, and I don't block like email, like ExpressVPN or PIA, and block email. I don't operate with a shady company like NordVPN that's actually owned by a company that does that tracks your data, and it's owned by that company. I don't do things that are shady, like some of these other companies that say, we don't have logs, but when the police come and they actually share their logs. I don't actually have any logs because I use it myself. I don't want any logs. And my system comes with a Tor, Bytes Tor option. When you have the VPN, you can use Tor. So if you want to be super secure, you don't have to do anything. Just pick a different profile and you're on Tor for the entire device. And if you're using my Brax router, you can switch it on Tor or VPN. And the final thing is all of my VPNs are enabled with Pi-hole. So ad blocking and all that is blocked at the DNS level. That's all built in. You don't need a Pi-hole server. Pi-hole is built in to Bytes VPN. So we're small operation here. If you're expecting, why aren't you so big? Why don't you have servers in every country? We're a small operation. This is not meant to be big. I don't really want it to be big. It's really meant to support the Brax router. That's what Bytes VPN is really for. So, and all of our servers at the moment are only in the USA. I might consider putting a server where most of my clients are, and I'm starting to get a good number of people from Europe. I might put in a server in the UK. That could be a good place to set up a server. I'll have to check the laws, but I might add a server in the UK. That's something that I might do this year. So I'll do that, and then people in Europe can have a faster service. So anyway, that's the Bytes VPN is made to actually work with Brax router. Brax router was the last video I did, which is turned out to be a popular video. And the Brax router is very important for simplifying your your life and privacy. So the two things that fortunately I made products for the two things that are very important for your privacy, which is a de-Googled phone and a VPN. Unfortunately, I have both products, and some of you say, well, why should we choose you over NordVPN? And it's like, do you know who owns NordVPN? Well, I'm going to tell you who owns Bytes VPN. I'm going to tell you who runs the servers on Bytes VPN. I'm going to tell you who says there's no logs on Bytes VPN. Okay, so do you know somebody from NordVPN? Do you actually know PIA and their new owners? Also, some pretty shady new owners of PIA. And they block your emails. And they give you tons of CAPTCHA codes because everyone knows it's a VPN. Same with ExpressVPN. Does the same exact thing. So is that what you want? Okay. Versus you're seeing my face. When you have a problem and some of you say, well, I want a refund. No argument. You want a refund? I'll refund you. It's easy because you're just talking to me. Okay, there's no mysteries here. I'm very easy to deal with. Somebody says, well, can I test your VPN? Fine, test it. I'll give you a week. Okay, the only thing I ask you is there's only one rule on my VPN, one rule and that's it, and that is do not use BitTorrent. That's the one rule. You can use it on Bytes Tor. I do have a Tor option. You can use BitTorrent on that, but do not use BitTorrent on the VPN, and the reason is they will ban me. BitTorrent is a very bad for privacy anyway, because the people who want to trick you into committing a copyright violation, what they do is actually they download themselves the illegal content, and if you happen to be one of the servers that has the content, gotcha. So they sit all day and actually download illegal content. Those are actually the bad guys doing it. Well, they're not bad guys, but they're your opposition. And then they track you, and then they say, okay, this VPN does it. Then I got to go look at my logs and see who was on the VPN at this moment. I don't have any data on what you were doing, but then BitTorrent actually reveals what you were doing at that time by saying you were actually downloading this at this timestamp. So don't use BitTorrent because they're actually spying on you. Okay, so don't use BitTorrent. It's not safe for you because they actually know, oh, you were downloading at 12:01 a.m. Do you really want that? No. Do not use BitTorrent. Other than that, do whatever you want on my VPN. It's fine. And if you're on a Brax router, all of your traffic is routed anyway. And I don't have any, limitations on traffic. Any number of users can be on a Brax router, so it doesn't really matter. You can have 500 devices on a Brax router. You're limited to 6 simultaneous on if you load software on each phone, but there's no limitation on a Brax router because that's a router. Okay. I2P, it's not popular. It's the only problem with I2P, and I have I2P loaded on my device. It's not popular. So Tor's more popular. So that's the problem. If you can't do much on it, then it's kind of what's the point? Again, to remind you, if you're just coming into the channel, hit that like button. Let's help the algorithm along to see if it can, get to appreciate the channel. Again, you guys think you're influencing it, but in reality, the algorithm decides which channels grow and which channels don't. So let's help the algorithm. If you hit that like button or dislike, you help the algorithm along, and that's appreciated. I only need basic phone functionality. Would a BlackBerry with BBSN? No. For basic functionality, I'd rather use an Ubuntu Touch phone. Do you use any legal torrent for downloading things like Linux IO? No, I do not use torrent at all, because what happens is the BitTorrent runs in the background, and then it'll make your servers store things that you didn't even download. Okay, that's the way the peer-to-peer works. So they're going to say, "Oh, you're busy doing this. We might as well use you to download to store something that we want to share on the network, and you keep a copy of it on your server, and then thousands of people download it from you." So no, BitTorrent is not safe to use at all. It's just not safe. Why use it when somebody is tracking what you're downloading? You're saying buying the BitTorrent crypto is a good idea because it's government backed. Expose history. Thank you, Expose history. Thank you for your support. I have to look at them logs and who did it. No, I don't have logs of what you do. You log in. So I have a login log. So I know when you're logged in because we have to know if you're a valid subscriber. So the log is of a login. I have to know. I don't know what the login does. I have no idea. I only know that somebody is in or not in and how many devices are in, but I don't know what the device is doing. Now, an external party can provide that data. That's why you don't want that. Can you? No, I do not do Xiaomi's at all. If a disease makes you sell out your values, it's taking everything away. Let's not fall for this, okay? Just because there's COVID-19 doesn't mean we have to give up our values. You're very correct there. Are we removing this? This is the point. Why fight oppression? Why fight slave? Nothing is hopeless. Can't stop lying. Awesome, man. Can you add Zuckbook to the Pi-hole blacklist? The Pi-hole. Why don't you tell Pi-hole that? Obviously, many people use Facebook, so I can't block Facebook. Xiaomi is not on my list of phones to do. I only have a very short list of phones. If it's not on the list, there's a reason. Okay? There's a reason it's not on my list. If it's easy to do, I would have done it. I don't know, Ryan. Oh, Fresh Eris. You keep asking me about this Orbot thing, Orjan. If you want to use Orbot, use Orbot. Orbot's fine. I don't know if it has kill switch. How serviceable are your de-Google motor phones? Is it possible to replace battery in the future? Jellyfish, fortunate thing about the Google phones is they're inexpensive. So they're inexpensive. I have no idea. I've never serviced one because when I sell you the phones, it's brand new. The phones I've been selling are brand new or practically new, open box, but brand new. So all the phones I've been selling are, as far as the Motorola's, are brand new or close to brand new, meaning not really used yet. Open box is the worst case. So because of that, the batteries are brand new, so you don't really have to worry about it for years. So that's not an issue for now, for years. So if you have a new phone, in a few years, for a phone that, is very inexpensive, then it doesn't really matter. So maybe you don't want to replace the battery of an inexpensive phone in 3-4 years. Maybe you don't need to. Just dump it and get a new one. Is there a way for using DNS over HTTPS on Android and Linux? Yes, and do not do it. Yes. It's called private DNS. Do not do that. I have a video on that. Do not do DNS over HTTPS. Do not do that. You're basically passing your real IP address, even if you're using a VPN, you're passing your real address to the third party listening in on the DNS side, whoever you directed your HTTPS, your DNS traffic to, Google or Cloudflare or whoever. Why would you want to do that? Why? When you're using a VPN, your DNS comes from the VPN IP address. So, no, you don't want that. Do not do DNS over HTTPS. It's a Zucking Google invention that is just gives them the ability to centralize DNS. No, do not do that. No, do not do any private DNS of any sort on any device. Not ever. When we sell our phones, we actually check off the private DNS and set it to none. How many devices can connect to the Brax router? Doesn't matter. As many as you want. Does it work with Fire Stick? Yes, of course. The Google, not saying Netflix will work with a VPN. Netflix will likely ban the VPN sometimes. Sometimes it detects it, sometimes it doesn't. Great Gold, the Google phone is, seriously, Great Gold, for somebody who has a iPhone and you see this Motorola G7, it's a quality phone. You're not getting like a piece of junk. It's new, it's fast. Maybe it doesn't take pictures as nice as an iPhone, but Zuck, why worry about that? It's a fraction of the cost of an iPhone. I'm not tech savvy. Is the VPN separate from your router? The router is made to use a VPN, usually my VPN, although it can use any VPN. The router can be used without a VPN, in which case it's not a VPN router. You can use it as a Tor router or regular router, which doesn't serve its intended purpose. Its intended purpose is to be a VPN router, so you should install the VPN subscription on it. When it's shipped to you, it comes with a temporary subscription, so you can test it immediately. Fireworks. Normally fireworks equals protest. Okay, I'm running out of time here, so still value human lives more than this tiny bit of information. When it's not even proven they spy on this. I don't know what are you talking about, Sebastian? I don't know what how many device. Okay, are you pissed Microsoft forced the Chrome Edge update on your desktop in the last update? Yes, Dizzy. They forced the Edge browser on me right before my broadcast. So I was pretty pissed off because I had to reboot my computer and I said, what the zuck are they loading here right before my broadcast? And I don't need any zucking Edge browser, okay? It's just Chromium anyway. Would you recommend putting Ubuntu on a Surface Go? If they allow it, sure, I would. I don't know if it'll run, but if it does run, it's good. I don't know if the drivers will work because it's a touch screen. Many touch screens do not work with Linux. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, you say it's 4th of July fireworks, but this is LA, and we've been having fireworks here since the protest started. So is it really fireworks for 4th of July or it's a protest? So the problem with that is in the middle of the night you hear loud bangs and I can't tell anymore if it's a gun, it's something you have to be afraid of, or fireworks. Fireworks are illegal, then you hear an explosion and is it a gun or not? So that kind of worries me. So should we worry about vPro IME? Actually, Jellyfish, not for a home user. You're already firewalled against that. Somebody needs to do some serious stuff to break into IME on your house. Okay, I don't want your tracking or tracing for COVID on my phone. Exactly, Deb. I missed your response. YouTube buffered your answer to my previous comment. Great goal. I was just saying that the phone, these phones are quality devices, and you actually don't miss an iPhone because it actually runs very well and fast. And functionally, I don't feel any difference between this and my iPhone 10, which is the last iPhone I have. And I'm not using my iPhone 10 anymore for anything. Actually, no, I use it only for one purpose. It's my Google Voice notification. So I leave it when you guys Google Voice, it gives a notification on the phone. I don't answer Google Voice. I'm only looking for a notification. That is about the only purpose that phone serves right now, because it doesn't have a SIM card. In my own town, only a few fireworks, and they increased yesterday. No, we have fireworks every single night, and I have to tell you, in the middle of the night, you'll hear a bang or two, and it's not like continuous. It's like one or two. That's why I can't tell if it's a gun. Do you ship to New Zealand? Yes, I will ship to New Zealand, but I cannot promise you that it would take a short time. It will take a long time to get to New Zealand. So I have shipped to New Zealand. I've shipped everywhere, and some of you get it, in 3 weeks. Some of you get it in 6 weeks. So, if you have the patience, then go ahead and get it. If you don't have the patience, then, I don't know. I can't control this. It's just the time. Now, some of you said, well, I really need it and I don't care. So some of you, what you did is you did Express. So if you're going to use Express, like UPS, it's very expensive. It's like, $175 to Express to a different country. It'll get to you, in 2 days. So yes, you can Express, but if it's not Express, it'll get there when it gets there. If that doesn't bother you, then you'll be okay. The phones that I sell are actually international phones, so they're actually made for the EU. So if anybody's in the EU, it's not going to be a problem. Kelp is here. Thanks for YouTube mass drop as long as I'm not waiting 6 months. Yes, so, probably on average it's been, actually I can't even tell what the average is because, some have gotten it in, less than 3 weeks. Some only got it now at 6 weeks. So I don't know. I can't really tell you for sure how long you're going to wait. It could take 8 weeks. I don't really know. Some have not received it yet. The bulk of you receive it in 3 weeks. So yeah, and I use priority mail, so there's tracking. So we can track it at least. And I can tell you that 2 weeks of the delay is right here in the U.S. It's sitting at the airport for 2 weeks. I don't know. I think they're waiting for flights. So why are they not rushing the robot overload intervention regulations and laws? Okay, what am I else? Would you consider adding an open source facial recognition to your camera product so you can test effectiveness of different solutions? Facial recognition is available on Amazon. So you don't even have to do anything. You just connect it to the cloud, Amazon facial recognition, and you can install on anything. Just like you can do Amazon Echo on any Alexa. You can put Alexa on any device, which is crap. Why Android 9 on your phones? Because it's on the G7, it's the stable one. So the Android 10 is not just stable. So that you'll get that as an OTA update in the future. But Android 9 is a stable one. So you get what is stable. Don't worry about what the version is. What you want is a stable version. The one I put on a Google Play is not stable version. So there are bugs. That's the price you pay for Android 10. There are bugs. Now, I prefer Android 10, but there are bugs. So, but for many of you who don't want to deal with that, then I give them mostly Android 9 on G7. So if you can handle the bugs and you want better privacy, then Android 10 is better on the G7 Play. But they're bugs. So, but I use the Play, so I can handle the bugs. If you can handle the bugs, which I told you at the beginning of the video, which is you have to, if they can't hear you in the voice, if you make a call and they can't hear you, it's because the mic is off when the ringer is off. So I end the call, I tap the volume up, and then I call back. You have to end the call and call back. Then you're fine. So that happens if you forget and you always have a habit of turning off the ringer. So that's bug number one. Bug number two is that SMS requires you select 3G as your preferred network for the SMS to be received reliably. Otherwise, it's kind of like hit or miss if you leave it the way it is. Okay, so this is, I like Android 10 better, but some people can't handle the bugs. And I don't want to really do tech support of people who don't understand what the bugs are. So if you understand what the bugs are and it's predictable, again, don't expect that if the mic is off, don't try to put the volume up then. It doesn't work then. You have to end the call. Tap on the volume up button, call back, and then it works. So that's it. That's really the only major bug in there. Fingerprint doesn't work. That's the other thing, which I don't care about. I'm not going to put fingerprint on it. If you add a VPN to your existing router, which you can, and if your router supports a VPN client, not to run as a VPN itself, not as a server, but as a client, because some support that, you can do that, but you will only get VPN through that one router. If you use my Brax router, you actually can VPN a trunk, meaning all the traffic wired Wi-Fi, multiple routers. So a Brax router is a better solution. It offers you the flexibility to attach TVs and everything else into the Wi-Fi. Okay, I'm out of time, guys. I am already over time by 6 minutes. I'm out of time. So I don't know if USPS is working tomorrow. I do not know that. I'm gonna guess not. But if they say they're delivering tomorrow, maybe they will. But I didn't think so. I didn't think so. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. I'm out of time, and I gotta keep this to an hour and a half. So I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in a video. And watch the last video on VPN routers. My name is not Brax Mark Excellence. My name is Rob. People are like referring to me as, hey Brax. It's like, Brax is the app. I'm Rob. Okay? Brax is the app. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button there before you go. And thank you for watching. Good night.